I'm thinking about buying a new Tesla. I love it so much. I'm gonna have to buy another one. The Model Y, maybe a performance version. And as I'm going through the buying process, and it takes me a long time to buy a car, by the way, this could be another year in the making. But as I'm going through the car buying process in my mind, I just realized this might be the last car that I ever purchase. Hi, my name is Levi Spires. This is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive podcast. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by the Gig U app. Now, okay, why would this be the last car that I ever purchase? Well, let's go through some numbers here. First and foremost, if I buy this new Tesla, let's say I don't Uber drive in it. I just drive it like a normal car. I'm probably going to put 10 to 15,000 miles a year on it. So let's say it's going to last 10 to 15 years to get to like 150,000 miles. And these are rough numbers. So that's why I'm with my hands here. In 10 years, what will the world look like? Well, first, I'm going to be 60 something. So maybe I might buy one more car, but I could probably make a car last 20 years. Then I'll be in my 70s. And then you're definitely not buying a new car. So there's that. But that's not the thing. The real thing is that autonomous cars. I don't think people are going to own cars in the future. We've talked about this many times on this, YouTube channel here. But it's starting to hit home as a realization. Like it's becoming very, very real. I'll give you some examples. A year and a half ago, or even 2 years ago, when I started doing Uber driving in my Tesla, I had a brain freeze there. But as I'm doing Uber driving in my Tesla and I would put on Tesla FSD, people were amazed. Wow, 2 years ago, people would be like, wow, your car drives itself, and it would turn the blinker on, then it would turn, and their mind would be blown. They're not blown away now. In fact, I've had 2 or 3 different times that a passenger request that I turn on FSD because it's safer. And you're like, why would it be safer? Well, it's clearly safer because I'm sitting there, I'm monitoring it, and it's driving, and it has more eyes than I have, and it can see things, especially in the dark. Like when you're in a college area and college kids walking around with black clothes on, you can barely see them, but the car can see them. And so it's just safer. So we went from this era of just a couple of years ago where people were like, wow, your car drives itself. And now there are kind of people starting to request it. Nobody's amazed by it. They always talk about, oh, I was just in Los Angeles. I was just in San Francisco and I tried the Waymo and they like it. So I remember when with FSD, people would say, oh, I would never trust that car. I would never get in that car. And now I think it's just becoming common. It's part of our culture. It seems mind-blowing, but in just a couple of short years, autonomous cars went from being this novelty to being like, yeah, they're out and about. They're everywhere. And I know they're not everywhere. They're not riding around here in upstate New York. I mean, we just had a blizzard on Friday night. I don't know how autonomous cars are going to handle that. But they're out there, all these different autonomous cars, and it's becoming part of our culture. So I think the adoption of autonomous cars is here. In fact, I think passengers prefer to have an autonomous car over a driver because some drivers they smell funny, they talk too much, whatever it might be, they're just awkward moments. When you get into an autonomous car, it's like it's your car and you can have peace and quiet and you can do whatever you want inside there. I mean, within reason, of course. That's the experience passengers are looking for. So the days of the driver are numbered. Now, we don't know how long they're numbered, and that's kind of the point of this episode of the podcast, but we know they are numbered. The days of humans driving their, especially rideshare, Uber or something like that, the days are numbered. It could be 5 years, could be 15 years, whatever it might be. But when I said that this might be the last car that I purchase, it really could be the last car that I purchase. Let's just say I buy this new Tesla this year. Okay, great. I get a new car and it's going to last me 10 years. In 10 years, what will the world look like? I think there will be autonomous cars everywhere. And I don't think it'd be so cheap to order a car. Right now, ordering an Uber, to go a couple of miles might be 10, 15, $20 to order a car. It can be very expensive, but that's really because I'm in the car as a human driver. That's why it's so expensive, because you have to pay me a wage. And then on top of it, you have to pay insurance to cover me. Autonomous cars don't have the same insurance requirements because technically speaking, they're safer. They don't make human mistakes like I make. So they're cheaper to insure and they're safer, and they don't have to, you have to pay for a driver. So they're going to operate a lot cheaper. So I can see a future where instead of paying $20 for an Uber, you pay $7 for an Uber, and it's an autonomous car coming to get you. And if you have to do that, let's say $7 or $10 to go to work and $10 to go home, 20 times, you're talking like $400 a month for an autonomous ride to go long distances. People are going to do that. They're going to stop buying cars, and they're just going to catch these autonomous cars. Why would you pay for a car when you can just order a car whenever you need it, and order the exact car that you need? Oh, you got 5 people and you're going out to eat, just get a bigger car. If it's just you by yourself, get a smaller car. You get the exact car for the exact price that you need when you need it. This instantaneous, almost not free, but really cheap transportation. And then think about how our cities and everything are designed. Our homes, like my home has a driveway, and it's designed, our neighborhood is designed so cars can go down it and park in their driveways. But in the future, what will it be like? Imagine like a neighborhood where all these cars are parked on the road, right? If you live in a bigger city. I was just in the Bronx the other day, and all these cars are parked along the neighborhood because there's no place, a garage, there's no parking lot. So you park on the street. Well, if nobody's owning cars, where will these cars be parked? It's just fascinating to think about. But it kind of shocked me a little bit, this transition from driving a car to being a passenger. And it's not just that there's autonomous cars. I got a phone call from a friend just a couple hours ago. He's like, "Hey, Levi, I saw that you're an Uber driver, and you live in the same neighborhood as my grandmother or my mother, and she's gonna need some rides. And how do I hire you to give my mother rides?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I am a driver of a car, but that's gonna happen to me too. At some point in time in the future, I'm gonna be too old to drive a car safely." There's probably way too many old people already driving cars unsafely in America already. So this transition is going to take place. And so if this is going to be my last car that I ever purchase, I really should make it a banger, right? I should make it a great car. Do you think that the age of humans driving is going away? I like to future think about this a lot, not because I'm an Uber driver and I kind of go through this, but let's just think about this for a second. Will humans be banned from driving? Humans are really unsafe. There's tens of thousands of deaths on the road in America, wrecks all the time. We see dash cam footage of people making really bad mistakes. And yes, right now today, autonomous cars do make mistakes, but they're not going to make as many mistakes going forward. So will it be smarter for society to say, "Hey, we're no longer going to have humans driving. You're not going to be able to own a car. You can order a car and you can catch a city car or a bus or whatever, but operating a 2,000-pound vehicle with pedestrians running around or whatever, we're not going to let you do that anymore." They're going to look back 50 years from now and be like, "I can't believe you let people drive cars." And it sounds crazy to talk like that. But what about horses? Now, I live near Amish country, and there are Amish people that ride their horse and buggies down from their farms or wherever down to, they park actually really like 100 yards from my house, and they walk into the village and they go buy their groceries. But they can't take those Amish buggies with horses into certain areas. They can't take them on highways. They can't take them on certain country roads because the cars go too fast. They have to go on back country roads, and we actually have to have roads set up so they can drive, because it's really dangerous for them to be going 15 miles an hour on a road that cars go 55. And we don't ride horses everywhere, do we? I haven't ridden a horse my entire life. I bet you haven't either. So we have already made this transition from humans using horse or some sort of animal as our main form of transportation and walking to cars. It's not too absurd or too far fetched to say, well, that's a good 100-year run. Basically 1920, 1910 to today, 19 or 2026. Those 100 years, humans drove cars. But that's a short little window of humanity. So to go to an autonomous thing when we know they're safer, they're going to be cheaper, it's going to be easy to operate. I could just really see it. I don't know. It just kind of it hit me, and I thought I should come to you guys and ask you your thoughts. So let's debate in the topics. I want to see what your comments are to kind of push back against this. I personally don't care if I drive or ride. Now I've been riding around in a Tesla for 2 years now, and about 80% of those miles the car's in FSD mode. So I just don't care. I don't care to drive. In fact, it can be frustrating to drive sometimes. I'd rather the car just drive me and me just sit there. In fact, yesterday, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you this. Yesterday, I took my Prius in to go get it serviced. There's a safety inspection, and I haven't driven the Prius in a long time. My wife tends to drive the Prius, and so she took I took the Prius out to go drive, and I forgot what it's like to drive a gas car. Like the fact that you have to turn the car on and turn the car off, and then I had to drive it. I'm so used to using Tesla FSD that I was actually driving. And then the one thing that would kill me if I wasn't paying attention is braking. My Tesla does all the braking. I just, I need to come to a stop. I just let my foot off the accelerator and the car brakes. But now in the Prius, I'm like, I better slow the hell down. I'm going to ram in the back of somebody's car because the car keeps going. It coasts. And so I got out of the car. I remember when I turned the car and I drove to the shop to get the car worked on or inspected. And when I got out of the car and I went into the shop, I realized that the car was still running because I forgot to turn the car off. Technology is changing so fast. I guess ultimately that's what I'm getting at. The world's changing so fast that things are happening that we can't imagine. And so I really do see in the next few years, we're going to start buying our last cars. And I'm willing to hear you push back on it. I don't know. I'm not saying I like it or dislike it or whatever. Or it's just that's the way the world's going, and the world's changing. And I don't know. Seems really, really interesting. Let's talk about fake surges. I'm sitting here at my house, and I'm not Uber driving today, but of course I always go in the app and look for no reason. And while I'm sitting here, I look and there's a surge. Look at that, a $3.50 surge right by my house. So I'm like, well, what the heck? Might as well turn the app on and get a ride. So I turned the app on and I sat there for 10, 15 minutes, just talking to my wife, waiting for the app to beep, and I was going to go out and get my car and take that person wherever they wanted to go. Make a quick little bit of money. There's no ride. The surge stayed there for a good 10 minutes. It wasn't like the surge didn't exist. The surge existed. It just wasn't giving me the ride. And then it went away. And then there was no rides. Now, I live out in the middle of the country, so there aren't that many rides. You know, you might get 20 rides a day if you were to park by my house, and that's split between 5 different drivers because who knows who's out here in this area. But I think these fake surges, and I call them fake surges, and that sounds negative toward Uber. I think what Uber is doing, or Lyft, what they're doing is they're putting color on the map and a number for us as drivers to see and go, I should drive in that direction. It's almost like they want to pre-position vehicles to get them in an area because they know, the apps know that in the near future, people will be looking for rides and they want cars nearby. So these are surges designed not necessarily to fill peak demand. These are surges designed to navigate or pre-position vehicles. I didn't get a ride. I had it on for 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever. I didn't get a ride that. I just turned it off. In fact, I have no idea how long it was on. It could have been longer, but there was just no rides. And I had a $3.50 surge. Then I think the thing that is really interesting about it is, let's say another driver comes out here. They don't get the surge, and I get the surge. It's 350 for me, and they get no surge. Who's Uber going to give the ride to? Not to the guy they have to pay more to. They're going to prioritize the other driver that doesn't have the surge. So if you look at that surge map, it's a small little area. That's like a mile range kind of thing. Um, Radius, diameter, mile diameter. The surge that is sitting there, if there's a driver outside of that surge in that same basic area, Uber is going to prioritize them. So these surges, while they're good to get, if you can get them and you can get rides right away, they can kind of be bad sometimes. To live out in the country, get a surge, and then you're not going to get a ride because other drivers will get prioritized over you because they're cheaper than you are. I don't know. Does that work that way? I mean, who knows? I have no idea how Uber works when it comes to that, but that's what I thought about. Now, Aaron goes, Levi, what tires are you using, my friend? 50,000 miles for a $1,200 set. If you want to guess, I did a rear camber arm, and he starts to go on through my tires. And here's a real interesting thing when he started talking about how I budgeted for tires. You know, the last video I made, I talked about accounting and how I do accounting. And so what I do is I budget $1,000, give or take, for 50,000 miles for a set of tires. Now, the last set of tires that I owned, I got 85,000 out of them, but I also paid 1,400, I think, something like that for them. And I actually had the same tires he got, the Michelin Cross Climate 2s. So I'm on the same wavelength as him. This is really interesting. I'm saying, here's what I budget for. Budgeting isn't the actual. The whole goal of that particular episode, that podcast, was to show that I'm putting money away. I'm saving it for tires. I'm saving it for brakes. I'm saving it for depreciation. It's not to say that's the actual transaction. When it's time for me to go get tires, then I start the shopping process, but I have money set aside for it. So Aaron, it's not just say that I think my tires are going to last 50,000. I'm saying that I'm thinking that they might last 50,000. They could go longer. They could go shorter. I don't know, but I'm just preparing and planning for it. And what's really funny is when we started talking about depreciation, he's like, why get rid of the car at 250,000 miles and only be worth $2,000? He's like, I'll pay you 2,000. Then he put his phone number in there, and I crossed it out. Aaron, you should not put your phone number into these chats. But the interesting thing is, I'm not saying I'm getting rid of the car at 250,000. I'm just saying that I'm depreciating the car to get to 250,000. It could go longer, and it could be worth more. But these are just budgeting numbers, if that makes any sense. Okay. Jay says, Levi, I feel like you might be getting exceptional rates, maybe because Uber watches my channel. I highly doubt that, and wants to show a positive image. If that's the case, it doesn't seem fair that most drivers aren't earning the same. Just my thoughts. Haha. Well, I understand where you're coming from, because I too see some Uber drivers. There's this one TikTok channel, this guy in Chicago. He drives Uber Black. He's doing like $1,000 a day. Now, my best day is like $800. It was like last year for Halloween, and it was like an amazing 12-hour day. So I'm jealous. I see his $1,000 and I go, oh. Jay, I promise you, A, Uber does not watch my channel. They could care less. B, even if they did, other drivers in the same area are making the same amount as me, give or take. In fact, the other day I was sitting at a 7-Eleven about 1 a.m, and there were 3 other Uber drivers in there. It was the only place open. We're all trying to complete these Uber Eats bonuses, and we all had the same bonuses. Now, we do get different bonuses for different times sometimes, but we were all working off of bonuses. I just think right now, February through March, April, May, it's just a good time for me to be a driver. And it just so happens that Uber is giving out these bonuses. I don't think Uber is giving out bonuses just to me. They're giving out bonuses in these quests to every driver in the city. Now, how we execute to it, now there are drivers that are a lot better than me. They make more money, at least here. So I don't think I've got some sort of secret when it comes to that. But no, Uber does not watch my channel. They could care less. Now, the final thing here is on the water. Thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate the donation. I asked if you wanted me to make a spreadsheet that I could share with everybody else. And he said, yes, I'll pay for it. And then boom, he paid. So there you go. Money talks, Levi walks. I will 100% make some sort of spreadsheet. I'll put it into what's called a CSV file or in Google Sheets and Excel, and I'll let you guys access it. What I'll do is I'll make kind of like a leveled version that you can plug information into. It's going to take some time because each one of us does things a little bit different. So to share a spreadsheet, it's not necessarily just creating a spreadsheet. I have to like educate you on how the spreadsheet might work and things like that. So it's a little bit more complicated, but yeah, why not? Why not? We'll do that. Drivers, thank you so much for watching. Shout out to all the sponsors, Gig U, Lay's Fit, Red Tiger. For 2026, drivers, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. I want you to have some fun this year. Let's have some fun again. Let's remember why we started doing this. Yeah, there's some side hustle cash. It's really fun to make that kind of money, but it's a job that we enjoy. It's fun having people in our car and meeting new people, or it's fun getting out there and listening to podcasts and doing Uber Eats. Whatever you do, I hope you enjoy yourself. Be safe and know that I'm cheering for you. My name is Levi Spires. Be well. Bye.